G'day and welcome back to Depraved. Alright, episode 2. So in the last episode we put the foundations down to a town hall and I just saw something super exciting. I never realised the clock on here is actually the same clock as it is here. So 6:03, 6:05. That's pretty cool. I never saw that before. So a town hall is doing okay. What we have had to do is we had to order some more metal parts just because we're getting a little bit low. We're a little bit low on our wooden planks as well, but I think we can hold off. We'll just keep an eye on them because we are manufacturing wooden planks now. But since our last episode, our church is ready. So we've got our church. We can't actually see inside the church. I think we just had some people going in there. But our small church is ready, and obviously we've got our padre or whatever who's come in, so we've got our extra workers. So we've got 15 workers. So let's get into it. All right, welcome back. As you can see, our trader's just left and he's dropped us off 10 more parts. So we're ready to start building again. So now that we've got 15 pioneers, that opens up and it gives us some more opportunities. So more importantly, it gives us shacks. So I've had a couple of attempts, but we are in positive revenue, which is exciting because my last couple of games have stopped because I've run out of money. So positive revenue has got to be a good thing. On the food side, we haven't got anything new. We do now have access to a weaving mill and a sheep farm. Exciting. Nothing on the transportation, logistics and mining, but we do have access to a doctor as part of the buildings. So part 2, let's get into it. We're building our stone. We're going to start building some larger shacks. As we said, these are only going to be temporary itself. I just wanted to get to the magic number of 12, or sorry, the magic number of 15. I've probably done a little bit of an overkill there, as I can see. But we will now start, and we'll actually start. First thing we're going to do is actually delete this workers' tent. We don't need any more workers' tents. So we'll demolish that. We've still got the building supplies. And let's start building actual proper houses. Now I've noticed that with these roads we've sort of buggered up a little bit, but we can bring it back on track. I know we can. So this is actually a good one. So you see how they're all a little startled and we've got a death? So we do. We've got a wolf in the camp. So attacking getting attacked by a wolf. Unfortunately, no one's got weapons at the moment. Oh, we do have someone that actually has a weapon. Why do you have a weapon? Shot, but we've got a wounded labourer. So, comes perfectly in time for wanting to grab a doctor's, doesn't it? So let's start building some of these houses. We're going to build just backed on to the other ones. We'll build one here. And we'll build another one here. And can we squeeze? Oh, we can't squeeze in another one. That's okay. You know what? We might turn this one around and face it that way. Hopefully they'll keep using this little pathway that's on the left-hand side here. So what we've actually got, so with these houses themselves, not that it's actually finished, these guys actually bring in 10 rent per tenant. So each house brings in 20 versus the single one that will bring in 4 per tenant. So this will change the value and actually really ups the cash that's coming in. You can see, which is actually a nice touch as well, as paths become more worn, they start dropping wood down just to sort of get a little bit of a feel. So I think it's a nice touch to the actual game itself. Just as those are starting to come in, and it just makes the whole atmosphere and it just sort of looks nice. So we've still got a wounded pioneer here. Let's have a look at some of the other things that we want to build. So we're still building our mine. The other things that we're starting to run short of is water. So I want to actually prioritise and bring a water well up before we actually run out of water. And we can actually put that well right next to the our services here. We don't need to go too far, but I am going to put farms on this side. So let's just drop our well here. Yes, we've got plenty of room on this side as well, so we might put the farms on that side. So we'll drop our well here. Oh, no, it's bad. Good, good, good. Excellent. I did see an excellent. We might as well put it in an excellent right here. We'll put our well. We will probably prioritise that well, actually. I was just actually having a look at the water. I'm surprised that we're down to 6. Our clothes are okay at 10. Metal parts, we did get some more metal parts. And the food is dying, dropping off a little bit. But you know what? We've got heaps of food. So I'm just going to up the ante a little bit on the water, which means they're just going to change the priority from the house once they finish building this house. We've got our stonemason now, which then brings us into the others. And as you can see, the stonemason will focus on a zone, so we can click on them and just make sure we get 100% of those stones. Then we can do that one. So that's fine. That's a nice location, and he'll very quickly pick up the stones. And we shouldn't have a stone problem for this particular settlement. The other things that we wanted to build, as we move in, we can actually start working on a sheep farm to start working on clothes, but they're 3 major builds. So we're probably going to focus on first a warehouse, but also a doctor's and a stable as well. So we're going to do the doctor's. Let's bring these in here. So let's bring our warehouse. We're going to bring our warehouse and drop it just to try and refocus this town a bit. So we're going to drop it there. That's the warehouse. And then we're going to have the town actually sort of moving parallel to the train line coming in this way. We can then grab our little doctors. How big's the stable? Yeah, that's okay. So we can have the stable next to the church. Sure, it's not going to smell too much. And you know what? They've even sort of parked a few horses there anyway. So let's park the stable next to the church. Sure, they don't care about the noise of the trains. And let's move our doctors right here. The strange thing is, and you probably saw it in there, the doctor's house is huge. It's a nice little house there, but he doesn't live in it. You still need to build him a house. That's all right, we will build those houses. Now that we've placed those down, I'm actually going to prioritise them. So I'm going to prioritise. I'm actually going to prioritise the doctors first after we've sort of finished all this off. So they're working on the well. Then I'm going to get them to build another house. Once they've built another house, then I'm going to do the doctors, build another house, probably the stables or the warehouse. So that's how we're going to do. So let's speed it up a little bit. We'll have a look at our citizens. So the mood is getting good. Everyone's happy. We're 99%. Crime is good at the moment. We probably are going to start seeing some gunslingers pop into the town very shortly. Let's have a look at our residents. Our residents are all green. Even this fella over here who doesn't have a house, but his mood is dropping. That's okay. Where it doesn't, we've only got one homeless pioneer. So there we go. As soon as we bring this house on, we've got more than enough pioneers to sort of to help us out there and keep us busy. What have we got here? That one I don't understand. Don't understand why he's over to the left. Maybe a little bit of a typo. Okay, let's speed it up, and we will be back when a few of these things are built. Okay, welcome back. All right, we've still got our 15 pioneers, and we've got one homeless. They're slowly building the houses there, so we're getting nice little looks. And I just do like the finishing touches of how they've got the sort of, I guess, the barriers up, just to sort of as they're putting these fabricated houses together. It's nice, and this is early access as well, so I really look forward to seeing this develop. Now our well is complete. And we've got our employee for a well. Plenty of water left in the bottom of the well, and he's going to slowly start filling buckets. I'm not sure where he is at the moment, but he's out and about. A couple of scary things happened, and that is we've got some neighbours that have moved in. Yes, that's it. We've got some bandits. I guess they're calling themselves the wolf bandits. So I don't know how these bandits are surviving. And how they're going to be attacking my town, because if I parked this close to let's say a herd of wolves, I would be buggered. So you don't actually get to see the bandits, but you just see that they've sort of pitched their little tents there. The positive side is though, where once we got the bandit notification, we also got this. So we got this very slim looking fella here. Obviously enjoys a beer. A gunslinger, got himself a nice little Winchester there, or a rifle. So we can hire him for $25. That's going to put us in the negatives, I know. He's without a home, but we now have ourselves a gunslinger. So with the gunslinger, the same thing is you can tell him where his working area is, and we're going to have his working area near the town hall, so we're just going to get him to sort of patrol around here and not get sort of run over by the train. And he will cover this area, and I'll probably cover this area because it's going to have the warehouse and this, and it's generally where your bandits come. So they'll either steal from your town hall or they will steal from your warehouse. So putting your gunslingers there appears to be working. Now where's my little well operator, and why isn't he here? I think what sort of happened with the way that I've done the layout, more importantly with the town hall, it's just playing around with how they're actually moving. So you can see here they've created this pathway that walk all the way around here to get to the church. The same here, they've created a pathway to... So I'm hoping once we create these buildings, it will correct some of the behaviours and the pathways. But it is definitely a learning. Potentially where the game is now is don't keep building your buildings on different angles. So stick to an angle like this, and then the pathways are a lot easier. But if you have them at different angles, it seems to play a little bit with their pathways. You can see these guys walking there, walking around, and then coming back. And all they're doing is going to church. So that's sort of a little bit frustrating. It's all right. Let's speed it up, and we will see you when some of these buildings have been finished. All right, welcome back. Okay, so here we go. So we finished our warehouse. Hopefully you can see that they're actually starting to change their paths now, which is what we wanted to do. And this will sort of be the main road of the town. So hopefully we can just redirect some of these wayward lines. We've got our warehouse up, and you can see now that they're actually going to start bringing water to the warehouse. So what the warehouse has got 9 slots, and you can determine what doesn't go in there. So in this case here, we're going to turn off, probably don't need to turn it off because it doesn't exist yet. But I can turn off some of the things that I do not want stored within the warehouse itself. It does cost 5 per cycle, and we'll play around with that a little bit more. You can see we've also entered fall, and therefore we've got a nice collection of leaves starting to drop onto our houses as well. We've also created next to our lumberjack, and we do need to make sure that our lumberjack still is within a wooded area, so we're just going to keep on changing his pathway a little bit to make sure he gets all this wood. And we've now started to build the woodcutter. to bring in firewood, because we're actually out of firewood, and obviously after fall we're going to start coming into winter. But more importantly, our horses are dying, and the problem with dying horses is yes, the owners lose their horse, but secondly, the horses actually, because people don't pick them up and bury them, they actually start to become disease-ridden. So what it actually means is obviously then people start getting sick. So probably left my stable a little bit too late in this game, but the stables are now well on their way to being built. They're at 71%, and then we will start getting the horses in there as well. Well, we got a thief that's robbed. Here we go. So we got a thief robbing the warehouse, and it looks like old matey here has already taken him out. So it looks like he tried to rob some leather. So it looks like the warehouse is doing well. So we've got meat going in there, we've got leather going in there, which is good. That will be actually quite handy, because we actually packed out a little bit on that. We'll see how the warehouses go. Obviously, if it we might just let it go natural, I guess. So therefore, it will determine what can go in there. It would be nice to get some stone in there and other things as well. So that happened all very quickly. So you can see the stone now being delivered. So it looks like we've got our fair share of labourers. All the labourers are now moving up here, collecting the excess food and leather and placing it within the warehouse. We're also picking up the water from the well, which then takes us to our next area, which is when we pause things. So obviously the thing with the warehouse at this stage, you can't set limits that I know of. So we'll just see how that works out. But you can pause a certain production. So by going on the sleeping cogwheel here, you can actually pause the production if need be. So our stables are up. So what you'll find is owners will then move to their respective horses, unless they've died on them. Jump on them. Starving, yes. Just in the nick of the time. This probably was the next horse to go. And they'll move them into the actual stables. Once they're in the stables themselves, they will be fed. Interesting enough, as it says here, you can sell a horse for $25, so you don't have to keep on having horses for everyone in town. It is another way of gaining revenue if you're starting to go a little bit broke. We will see if these horses... I haven't actually had dying horses before, so we'll see if these horses pose us any problems a little bit later on as they start to decay. The same as bodies. What you'll actually find is the bodies will actually start getting some flies around them as they start to decay as well, until you build a cemetery. Once you build a cemetery, then that obviously prevents the decaying of the people as well. Very similar to these carcasses that are here, which are all left over from the hunters. From the hunting. Okay, so where are we up to? We've got ourselves our warehouse. Warehouse is coming around nicely. We're getting nuts and bolts in there, which is nice. I wouldn't have guessed that they would have went in there. And we're getting some clothes. So it's actually picking up all the stuff that was actually just sitting on the ground, which is fine. The next thing we've actually got is we've got our small church, and now we've got the doctors being built as well. What we're going to be short of is housing. So we can then start moving on housing, and also the woodcutter. So we're going to start coming into winter and probably running out of wood. And we're also out of building materials as well. So we're going to order one more stock of building materials once that last one goes. And then we should be right. But let's have a look at what we've got. We've hit 20. So what we can actually build. So we're still the same on the building material. On houses, we're still on the same for the shacks. We do now have access to pig farms as well as grain farms. And obviously with our pig farms, we now have access to a butcher. Still the same on this side, and we're waiting for 30 pioneers till we get to the next level, and still the same here, but in this case here it's 25 pioneers for the next one. So we're going to build a couple more houses just so we can keep the revenue coming in. As I said, I got caught out before where we actually had a loss of revenue, so we're just going to build 1 or 2 more houses. Oh, so close, so close. We need to cut down the rest of these trees before we can put some more there, but we are going to start dismantling buildings. So it's actually instant that you can actually dismantle. Is it going to allow me? No. I'm going to knock this one down as well. All part of our development plan in the name of progress. So, and that's just because the wood is there. So we'll let them pick up that lumber or the firewood. Once they've picked up the firewood, we will start dropping down some houses. There we go. So that's actually just replacing those 2 huts. It's not doing anything too crazy there. But what it will be doing is obviously changing the income. So instead of getting 8 per house, it will get an extra $2. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it all just slowly adds up. We will change those. Hopefully, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the second lot of house in there. So we might be keeping these 2, but it's okay. We will keep those there. We will drop another house because all we've done is do like for like at the moment. So we're going to drop another one. Wow. Right there. Go a little bit crazy, put it to the left. And that will get us 3 houses. That will take us up to 23, so we're still 2 more short to just bring us into the 25, which actually then gets us into the next lot of buildings, which we are going to do now. So there's the first horse, and you can see it's starting to rot away as it sits right at the front of Town Hall. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Nothing like rocking up to a town and there's a dead horse sitting on the it's like mafia days. You've got like a horse's head sitting on the steps of the town hall. Right, so now let's get ourselves a little bit of grain farm, and then we can start working on some sheep and some other forms of meat. So obviously the hunter is bringing in some food, but as the town grows, it probably just isn't bringing in enough. So we're going to do the grain farm first. Obviously a bad location for a grain farm. Clearly a good location. An excellent location is going to be here. Look at that. Are we going to be able to slip it in there? We are. Look at that. Perfect. Excellent soil quality. That is our grain farm. Hopefully, and we've seen it pumps out a lot of grain. Close to the houses as well, on the soil. But then we've got the other things. So the other things that we wanted was a pig farm. They need water and grain. Unlike cattle, pigs do not feed on the grasses. Doesn't actually have a... once again, you can put the pig farm on this light brown biome, which we will as well. Okay, so we're going to speed that up and we're going to let that build up, and then we'll come straight back. All right, welcome back. So the town is definitely coming along. It is getting a little bit dark as it's turned into 7 p.m. We've still got 4 homeless individuals, and as you can see, we've got a couple of dead things in the middle of the town. A couple of dead horses that are decaying away. Also some dead bandits as well. What we have got though is we've got ourselves another gunslinger. So we're going to take that gunslinger. It is going to put us into negatives, but I'm comfortable to have 2 gunslingers. Certainly the first one is going to take out this bear, and we're going to position him over here straight away to actually shoot that bear. Well, no, he's going to get attacked by the... Oh, it's 2 bears. Alright, so let's get this fella up here. Alright, so both bears are dead. He's going to spend... well, he's earned his money already, because by him taking the hit, he can now go spend a little bit of time at the doctor's. Couple of things is we get some food. Obviously the hunter's already there scalping them, getting some fur and leather, and he can spend some time in the doctor's if he doesn't bleed to death. And yeah, alright, but we're going to change his working area now that he's killed bears. We're going to change it to just cover, to overlap, but also just cover the actual warehouse. So that will be fine. So what have we got up to? So we're doing okay. So the warehouse is doing okay for water, meat, and we're getting a decent amount of leather. We have now built a tailor. So the tailor will take the leather and actually start putting it into clothes, because we're completely out of clothing. So we're going to start getting some complaints soon about naked cowboys running around town. So we need to put that up there. We've got our fire wood, where our woodcutters are now making firewood, so that's fine. We've got enough firewood, and we're slowly making our way on the grain farm. So we're just lacking a little bit on planks. We could speed it up by buying some. We might just do that. Let's just order some planks. They seem to be fairly cheap, but I think we'll slow that down a bit. We've got our house finished, and we've got our next house coming on board, which will take us up to $45 per tick, which is nice, because as I said, the previous games that I've actually done prior to these streams it tend to run out of money. So I've sort of changed my thinking in regards to really focusing on housing rather than focusing on production. But we're going to leave it up there for episode 2. It's actually been a bit of a long one, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the likes, leave the comments. We will continue this because I'm actually really enjoying the Depraved, and I look forward to seeing the development of this game as we sort of build this Wild West town. I'm looking forward to getting our first sheriff. And let's see how this town comes in. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe if you'd like to see more of Depraved or other games that we're doing. All right, good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one.